Gary has decided to be fancy. And according to Gary, being fancy means drinking wine.
That's right. If it costs more, it's better. Right?
Funny you should ask, Gary. Can one bottle of wine be 100 times better than another? The answer is possibly. However, it doesn't have much to do with the price tag itself. The better wine is whichever one you like to drink. Many of the fanciest guys in wine, also known as sommeliers, have been duped into mistaking cheap wines for expensive ones in blind taste tests. If one wine tastes way better than another to you, it's just what you prefer, and the price tag really doesn't matter.
But why is expensive wine so expensive then?
With pricier wines, a lot of what you're paying for is the winemaker's overhead. For example, older wine is nearly always pricier than wines that haven't been aged for as long. Not only will the more aged wine taste smoother and less acidic, but you also have to, essentially, pay the vineyard back for however many years they spent storing that bottle at a rate of about $1 per year of aging. Aging wine in oak barrels, as opposed to stainless steel, will give you another price hike. Wines aged in oak are more prized, so it's basic supply and demand. If you want those unique flavors of vanilla, spices, and fruit that tend to be associated with oak wines, you're going to have to fork over the cabbage.
Yeah, that's wine, yeah, oh man.
Plus, there's only so much oak out there. You get about enough to make 2 wine barrels per tree, and that's it. And French oak? Forget it. That'll cost you about twice the price of American oak barrels. And with wine, the barrels are generally only used once since the oak loses its mojo over time. The other main factor that drives up the price tag is the grapevine itself. Vines with fewer grapes are said to produce more robust wines that punch you in the face with flavor. You know, in a good way. But once again, basic supply and demand comes into play here. The smaller the harvest, the higher the price. As the cost per ton of grape varietals rises or falls, so does what you wind up paying. And it sounds kind of weird, but the best place to grow primo grapes is in areas where it's actually pretty hard to grow them. Typically, this means up on a hill, on land that isn't even all that fertile. Climate, soil, and terrain, the bougie word for the combination of these factors is terroir. And it looks a lot like terrier, but that's definitely not how you say it. Anyway, time spent aging the wine, oak barrels versus stainless steel, how many grapes are on the vine, terroir. All of that affects the cost per bottle, not to mention marketing.
Okay. I guess I see why the prices are all over the place, but why does all wine, regardless of the price point, pretty much taste the same to me? Am I just a garbage person with no class?
Maybe, but not because of this. Wine experts have even been tricked into thinking a white wine was a red just with a little bit of food coloring.
Yes.
Frederic Brochet did a study on this in 2001, and 57 of the so-called experts, which was all of them, fell for it. None of them realized they were actually drinking a white wine that had been dyed. Similarly, winemakers have also pranked wine snobs into thinking they're drinking 2 different wines when they're drinking the exact same wine, just at different temperatures. There's a lot of anecdotal evidence showing that hardly any of us have palates that are that sophisticated when it comes to wine. So if it tastes good, drink it. And don't worry so much about what was rated by some wine expert on an app.
So as long as I get it from somewhere fancy like France, I don't have to worry about the price and it'll probably be good.
You could, but you don't even have to do that. In May of 1976, there was the famous Judgment of Paris, where French judges compared wines from France to wines from California. It was assumed that France had it in the bag, especially since the judges' panel was stacked in France's favor. Here's the thing. The taste tests were done blind, and a California winery had the highest overall ranking in the end. A startup winery named Stag's Leap from Napa won top marks, and to this day, because of those sips heard round the world, Napa Valley became Napa Valley. It put an end to the idea that great wines could only come from France. It shows that great wine comes down to the winemaker and, how your taste buds are set up. Taste a few different styles from different brands and countries that are at prices that fit your budget, and you'll figure out what the best wine is. And if they literally all taste the same to you anyway, just pick a cheap one.
Cheers.
That's the spirit. Let us know in the comments what questions you'd like us to answer next time. And click the follow button below because it doesn't hurt to ask.